Tonight on the Salty Podcast, we're hanging out with one of the coolest crews in sailing, Sailing Delos. For 14 years, they've racked up tens of thousands of miles, crossed oceans most of us only dream about, built a massive global community, and even raised a salty little deckhand along the way. Now they're leveling up with Delos 2.0, a diesel electric catamaran built to show what the future of cruising really could look like. But before we get underway, if you're enjoying this sailing content, please like, subscribe, and share, and it really helps grow the channel. I'm your host, Captain Tinsley of Sailing Vessel Salty Abandon and Island Packet 320, and this is the Salty Podcast, episode 75. Please help me welcome the crew of Sailing Delos. Good evening, good morning.
Hey, good morning and good evening to you as well.
So I am in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and you are in Brisbane, Australia. Is that right?
It's called, they just say Brisbane, even though it's
Brisbane.
like Brisbane.
Okay.
So yeah, we're literally in a little shipping container in the back of the shop, just kind of located inside the swamp in a place called Thornlands, which is, we're about 45 minutes southeast of Brisbane.
Okay. It's kind of like Mainsail, Brisbane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't say Melbourne. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So your story is everywhere. You've got a great website, the travel blog on there. You've been keeping great records all these years, these 14 years. So we are gonna touch on a few of your points, your highlights of your background, for just in case somebody here doesn't know who you are. So the unlikely chance of that. So just tell us. We're going to spend about 5-10 minutes on this. How did this start? You were by yourself first, right?
Yeah, well, I was originally an electrical engineer, and I got hired at a university. I went to the University of Washington up in Seattle. And instead of, I got a couple of job offers back when I graduated, and one of them was to go work for a big software company, Microsoft. And so I actually went into that world for a couple of years. And then I guess in my early 30s, I sort of had one of those freak out moments where I was like, is this going to be my life for the next 30 whatever years my career is? Am I just going to be sitting in front of a computer answering emails, trying to climb the corporate ladder? And, I distinctly remember going, we used to have these one-on-one manager meetings where you'd visit like your manager, and then they give you, let you know how you're doing and all that. And I remember I sat down in his office, very nice office, and he closed the door, and there's like an org chart of Microsoft, and it starts out at Bill Gates at the top at that time, and there was literally like hundreds of little nodes going down. He's like, you know what, Brian, my goal is to somewhere be on this paper chart. And I was like, oh man, like
that was his goal.
Like that was intended to like motivate me to be a better program manager in the Windows group. I'm like, you missed the mark, buddy. And so I ended up leaving. I started my own company, like a consulting company with a couple of friends. And then I just became very disenfranchised, I guess, with the whole path of what you're expected to be as an American. And to me, it was always like, you go to school, you get a job, you buy a house, you get a mortgage, you get a car, and then you just work. And there's never this concept of traveling or a gap year or an overseas experience like, a lot of other countries have, where you go sometime between, where you graduate school and university,
right.
You go and you travel, you backpack around. And I wanted that. And even though I was in my 30s, I decided I'm going to do that. And I love sailing. And I love the concept of traveling and bringing your boat with you. And so what I ended up doing is I just sold everything that I owned, house, car, everything. I told my partners at work, I'm like, hey guys, look, I'm taking off. I'm going to go sailing. They're like, we know, Brian, like it's all you talk about. Go do it. I said, I'm taking 18 months off. And that's how much money I had saved up, is enough to live for 18 months. And I'm going to
I was thinking you were going to say that you were still working while you were sailing.
No, I did it. I just, I stashed away the cash, and I bought a sailboat. I had just enough. It was way more expensive of a sailboat than I should have actually bought, looking back on it. I put a down payment on it. I took a mortgage. I was like, I'll just worry about it all when I come back to work. No problem. You can always make more money, right? And I literally just made a left turn out of the Straits of Juan de Fuca and headed down to Mexico and made it to New Zealand. And then I was like, I'm never going back. That's it. I'm never going back. And so I told my partners, I'm like, sorry guys, like you guys can run the business. Do whatever you like. And
do you still own in that business, or are you still involved?
no, we ended up, it was pretty small by that point after I left, and we just ended up shutting it down. Yeah.
Well, here's where you came out in Seattle, and I was wondering if you came down here first. Looks like Panama, somewhere
down the coast, down to Mexico,
across
the South Pacific in 2010. Made it to New Zealand by I think it was Halloween, almost Christmas, just in time to get out of the cyclone season. And then, figured out, well, what next? What's the next step? And it was basically just do whatever I could do to keep sailing. I worked as like a day engineer on super yachts in Auckland, like fixing problems. I was getting paid like $170, $200 a day. Whatever I did to scrape by. My brother was rolling burritos. My brother Brady was sailing with me. He was working at a Mexican restaurant. We met a couple other guys, and we're like, well, let's just put this boat together and then let's sail up to Fiji. So
I would say that crew that you had is pretty infamous. Everybody used to talk about that. It was kind of a road. I think you said on your website you've had like 50.
It's been I think it's been just over 70 people now.
That's amazing.
Over the years. During that time I met Kaza. She was back. She's actually from Sweden, but she was backpacking in New Zealand. And I'm like, hey, how do you like to come sailing for the weekend? And so we took her and a couple of her girlfriends out on the boat to a winery, like an electronic music festival in New Zealand. And just kind of like, we just decided to keep going.
When you saw her, did you have longer intentions than just the weekend?
Oh, I was in just such a party mode. I was just like taking it one day to the next, to be honest.
Okay. I didn't know if you saw her and go, that's my wife.
Well, no, I was like, dang, like, what are you doing? Like, but I knew she lived in Australia. She was going to school in Australia and stuff. So the prospects were pretty slim. But it's like, hey, if you like sailing, we're sailing to Fiji. Why don't you fly there when you get a break? Meet us in Fiji, and we'll just take it from there.
We do have we can talk about storms. So there's a question here. Storm, tell me about the storms you got. Before you do that, tell me about the guy that you were when you left out of Seattle.
Oh, I don't know.
You were in your 30s.
To be a little bit pudgy, a little bit overweight. Probably drinking too much, like go home and have a couple of drinks to take the edge off the day, and that turns into more. And then, I remember my favorite part of the day was my bus ride to and from work, because I could just stare out the window and I had time to myself to like listen to music and do what I enjoyed, instead of, having 15 minutes to make it to the next meeting. And then, that's a funny image. That's after 2 years of sailing, I guess.
Well, and you've got this before and after picture, I guess, of you and your brother. You guys did really slim down.
Yeah, well, we were so broke. We were just basically eating fish and rice, and that was pretty much it. We couldn't even afford to put diesel fuel in the boat, so we were just living day by day.
This is a big change here, Brian. This
is.
Yeah,
that's all right. That's good. Yeah.
Wow. So, oh my gosh. So how old were you when you left? It was 30 what?
Oh, I must have been 33, 34, something like that.
And is this Brady right here?
Yeah, he would have been 20, 23, 24.
Oh, he's quite a bit younger.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is, I love these. If you want to know details about their story, and you don't already know it, go to their website. It's great. Okay, so Karin, or Kaz, right?
Yeah.
Is it Kaza or Kaz?
In Swedish, it's Karin, because it's a Swedish name.
Karin.
But
Okay.
yeah, she just like says, just call me Karin, because people in English can say that easier. And then in Australia, you tend to just like shorten everything and add a za.
Yeah.
So like Darren would be Daza, Barry would be Baza, Karin would be Kaza. And so I don't know, I just kind of stuck calling her that, and then other people started too. So I thought it was funny.
I know they're into shortening words there in Australia.
Yeah,
brekkie and all this.
Brekkie, Smoko is your break, Arvo's afternoon, Servo's the gas station. Like, it's hot. You can't really put that much effort into talking, right? So.
All right, let's see. So storms. Tell me about storms you've encountered, how it was. I mean, you want to just tell one storm story?
I remember us, probably the worst weather we had was sailing from the wrong way around the Cape of Good Hope from Cape Town. We were trying to make it to La Réunion, which is a French island. We were pretty well prepared because we'd hit some big weather coming across the Indian Ocean before. And the Indian Ocean is very windy. It's typically, I'd say, a brisk 30 knots, which means when you get a low coming through or even a squall, you can easily get 45, 50 knots. And we saw it coming. We headed south for 2 days. We got down to about 42 south because these lows, they come across the bottom of South Africa. And you don't want to be in the center, because when the grid says gray and it basically says unforecastable, that's not a good sign. So it was a big low.
Okay.
And they can routinely blow 60, 70 knots on that coast. So we went south and we saw maybe 50, 55 knots for a couple of days. We were able to set the boat up really well, because it had happened to us before. And, waves crashing over the cockpit, boat heeling over 40, 45 degrees, getting knocked on its side, sails going in the water occasionally. We didn't have a child on board, so you just got to hold on, and eventually it'll pass. I always think that the boat, if you just let the boat take care of you, she will. It's the crew you got to worry about. The boat will be fine. You just got to take care of yourself and try.
How many people were on board? Was it 4 people?
We were 6.
Okay.
But myself and Brady, we had to take 20 minutes turns hand steering through the night, because the autopilot just, it wouldn't handle those conditions on the point of sail we were trying to do. And it's too exhausting to try and sail for more than 20, 30 minutes in those conditions,
right.
I think.
Yeah.
So you're just sleeping on the helm. And we just set up the boat. Since she's a ketch, she runs pretty good under the old jib and jigger arrangement. So we just put on our third reef on the jib, and then no main, and just a tiny little scrap of mizzen to balance her out. And you just go real slow. We just try to keep our speed under 5 knots so we don't launch off waves, and the boat kind of stabilizes and just goes. It's pretty nice. It wasn't terrible.
So he likes that quote, "Let the boat take care of you."
Yeah. And also just the noise and the energy in the air. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been in a hurricane in a house, but I feel like it's so
I've been on a boat in a hurricane.
Yeah, well, then just the power of the wind and the rigging and the vibration and the energy all around
loud.
you.
It's so loud.
So much power. And
yeah. Talk about powerlessness, feeling powerless.
Yeah. And I guess we sort of do put ourselves there, so we have nobody to blame but ourselves.
No, it was definitely.
we went to a hurricane here in Brisbane, and where we live, and I'm sorry, a cyclone, and we live in a brick house, and I slept right through the whole thing. I was like, really, that's what it's like? And I mean, it's a brick house, but it was like a totally different experience.
It's much different on land, because I do live in a high hurricane area. It was definitely different. So SV Island Spirits is Delos 1 Amel. Is that how you say? How do you say the name of the boat? I mean, the kind of boat.
Every time I try and pronounce something that's French, I always get corrected. So I'm just going to say Amel. That's how I say it.
Is a dream yacht. Do you think you will miss her? Delos 2 is epic.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I already do. It's a great boat. We've sailed literally sailed the shit out of that boat. I don't know if we can say that, but we have. I mean, we've sailed her everywhere, all around the world, and she's always taken good care of us. She's a very kind, sea kind boat. Very good, robust systems, like good sail plan. But then again, I think after I've sailed her around for about 15 years now.
Yeah.
And so you start to think like, well, it could be nice to try something different. Like maybe it'd be nice to have a little bit more beam, a little bit more space. Like one of the things I've really grown to hate is rolling. You go off of a rolly passage and then you get into an anchorage in some places. The boat's doing this and this. I'm like, I just want to sit down and relax. And like you're still holding like and stuff. And I'm like, that's something I really won't miss is those big, rail to rail rolls that we can sometimes get into.
That does sound tempting. No rolling. So from Instagram, that there's a comment. I just copy and pasted it. Mark PH. So many people say the reason they are doing this is because of Delos. One nerd to another. Amazing. So there you go. I'm sure you hear that all the time.
That makes it worth it. That's cool. I love hearing that.
At what point did you two realize you were going to be a couple?
Oh, Kaz, when was that? Come on over here, Kaz. Kaz just walked in. At what point did we realize we were going to be a couple?
Oh. I don't know. I pretty much knew straight away.
I
don't know. I think I don't know. I mean,
is it when you went back to school in Melbourne and I was sailing off to Fiji and you're like, I'm not going to hook up with anybody else. You do what you want.
I mean, I kind of like, I felt like I was really ready to like meet somebody serious. And, I really felt like me and Brian had a connection and I was ready to like see if we would make it, and I guess we did.
That is so cool that you knew, but you didn't.
I had just gotten out of a previous relationship with me and Kaz just met, and I was like, well, I gotta take some time. I gotta make sure that I'm doing this for the right reasons and stuff. And then once I decided after a couple months, I was like, oh, this girl's amazing. I gotta go all in or not at all. So then I decided to go all in, and then here we are.
Someone could snatch her up.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Milestone Adventures. I got little sections here, stuff to ask you. The Indian Ocean Run is legendary. You were just talking about that. What?
Yeah.
Excuse me. And what stands out most from places like Chagos? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Madagascar and Bassus. Did you go to India?
Well, it's called Basasta, India, in the Mozambique Channel. There's not even really any land there. It's just an atoll between Madagascar and Mozambique.
Yeah.
We did go to India, but that was like the other side of the ocean. So we went to the Andaman Islands. But what stood out to you about Chagos?
I mean, the Indian Ocean in general, I think, was just the windy and the remoteness of it was just kind of like, it was just raw in a different way. And you just don't have that much people. And I mean, Chagos for us, we were the only boat there for the whole time we were there. And we didn't see any other people as well, except that like ship. But that was only for like one day. We met some other people.
We got hailed by the U.S. Navy one day. That was very exciting because we were approaching the Diego Garcia military base. I think you're muted. There you go.
Is it in the? I don't know my geography of the Indian Ocean that well. Is this place? It's in the North Indian Ocean near India.
Well, it goes like India, and then there's the Maldives, depending on how you pronounce it, and then about 1,200 miles south. So I can't remember. It is technically in the southern hemisphere, isn't it?
Okay, so you weren't. I was. You know what I'm getting to is that pirate area. You weren't near that.
Oh no! I mean that would be That's northeast of the
Way north.
Seychelles by
Yeah.
Somalia, and so now we were pretty far away from all that. I mean, there's nobody out there. I mean, it's like it basically goes Australia, and then there's Cocos Keeling, which is part of Australia, and then the next thing you can hit is if you go a little bit north is Chagos or Rodriguez or La Reunion, which are two tiny islands like southeast of Madagascar. And
Okay.
that's it. It's just a big stretch of gnarly ocean. Very windy.
Yeah. I've interviewed quite a few people that have done this, and how far down did you go in the Southern Ocean? How long were you there?
Maybe like 3 or 4 days. Not very long. Just enough to get around the Cape of Good Hope, because you got to kind of go south to get into some westerlies to bring you across. And so I think we got down to like 42 south, maybe something like that.
And what was it like?
Windy, cold.
I mean, when we sailed back, like when we sailed around again, it was really windy.
Yeah.
That was when we sailed far south too, because we had it was just a ball of gray just coming for us.
On the grid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, you don't want to see gray. It's like not good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally
And
just says unforecastable, which sucks.
I mean, we sailed for how many, like 1 or 2 days?
Dead
Dead south to get away from it.
And then like another 7 days kind of east.
Yeah, I mean, we still had 50 knots.
Yeah.
You know, like we didn't our wind instrument just topped out at 50, so it was like topped out, so we didn't know.
We just had
it was 50.
the old B&G analog gauges, and it just stops at 50, and you're like, but what now?
We didn't really know.
Like, oh, it's just windy.
So it's just not real relaxing in those conditions, is it?
Yeah, no.
I don't think so. I know you hear all these stories about like the parties, baking bread, and like hanging out. I'm like, I don't know. I think it's kind of not great, honestly.
That you probably weren't baking bread during that.
Maybe they're more hardcore than
Yeah, I
us.
think so.
But I think honestly, like if I had the choice of being there or not, I would probably choose to not be there.
Right. I think that would be the way I feel. I don't plan on ever going to the Southern Ocean, but you never know. So when you hit the Caribbean, tell me about that. That's when your channel really started taking off, didn't it?
Yeah, I think we started doing quite well there. I mean, the Caribbean's a lot of fun. You can do like the whole concept of hopping from island to island in like an afternoon is great. I mean, you sail 20, 30 miles, you're in a new country, no overnight passage. You can, do whatever. It's pretty chill.
Yeah.
Check in.
Did you ever
check
think, oh, we should just stay here?
We've never thought that.
Yeah, no, we always look for that place, like.
We're still looking.
Yeah, I think we always look for that place where we're like, oh, this is where we're gonna stay for like a couple of years or something like that.
I mean,
and it's just never
the Caribbean's
really
amazing, but it did seem like the well-traveled path to me. And you kind of lose like that specialness of where you go into a port and if it's easy to check in with customs and immigration, that it's sort of a well-traveled port. If it's really difficult, that means they don't get a lot of people there. And then you're probably going to have a very interesting experience. Like it's going to be a little bit more rough, a little bit more, I don't know, like when we checked into Andaman Islands in India, it literally took like 3 days, but we had a fantastic experience that we would never have in any place that's used to seeing tourists or sailors or boaters there. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got pulled into the police station for our friend taking us to his house for dinner because somebody in the town saw that he was driving some foreigners around and they didn't know why we were there. And they didn't know if he was going to try and get us to like stay at his house because that's illegal. Apparently we'd have to stay in a hotel. And I mean, there's just all these weird things like, oh, well, that was a really interesting experience. Like you wouldn't get that pulling into like the Bahamas or anything like that. Right. It's just
different.
Why would that be?
I don't know. Sat phones are also illegal. So we also got in trouble for our friend delivering buttered chicken to our boat. Like they pulled us off the boat. We had to go in and sign a document that said that we were not smuggling bombs out of the country. I was like, why would we, like, first of all, why would we take a bomb sailing? We're sailing to Australia. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, Wouldn't you be worried about us bringing explosives into the country, not right before we check out?
So it's not that a sailboat is not what you would
Plus I was
run
like,
off with a bomb.
it's just fun chicken anyway. Like when you arriving in Australia, you put the date and the time. I'm like, bro, it's like a 17-day sail. I don't know what time or even what day. What do you mean you don't know when you're going to get there? I'm like, we're not a cargo ship. Just weird little things like that keeps it interesting,
Okay. Let's see. Switching from the tropics to 80 degrees north. Now, I've interviewed people that love ice and snow and glaciers and Svalbard. I hope I'm saying that right. And then all the way down to the tip of South America, where you get the ice and snow down there.
Yeah, like Tierra del Fuego and stuff, and yeah, I love it. I think
They just love those conditions, so they'll go all the way. They're from Norway, I believe, and they went all the way up to Svalbard, and then they go all the way back down to the tip of South America, and that's just what they love.
Yeah,
What did you think of it?
I mean, it's like an alien landscape. It's so different than tropical sailing. I think we love tropical sailing, but after a few months of hopping from beach to beach, you're like, oh, I mean, it's lovely water. We like to go swimming, but then it doesn't really. It's still beautiful, but it doesn't give you that extreme kind of shock, like, oh my God, like we're someplace really, really super cool. And so that's how we felt when we went up to Svalbard. It's a very inhospitable landscape. The water is like 1 degree Celsius. So, you have to carry a rifle when you go to shore by law.
Bears, right?
Yeah, for polar bears. I mean, a lot of the decisions that we've made around the design of Delos 2.0 are things that we learned from that trip and from trips that when we took Delos, like up to Maine and stuff like that. Yeah, but I'd love to go back.
Well, and were you on like a research ship?
No, it was like a Swan 48, like pretty.
Okay, I was thinking it was like because I interviewed some people that work on those. They they do research and everything, and in between sailing, that's how they earn their sailing money.
It's a little 48-foot sailboat with 7 people on board, all crammed into a tiny space. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you guys, it was in 2000 whatever when you got married. What was that? 2011? Was it 2000?
Oh geez, I should know this.
Uh-oh, sorry about that. Let's see.
2019.
2019, and you had baby Sierra.
Yeah.
So
late that year. Yeah.
I will. While you're talking, I'll look for a picture because she is just absolutely adorable.
It's fun. She's such a little worldly traveler. I mean, Sierra's already sailed like, what is it, 15,000 miles, I think. She's been to like 13 countries by sailboat.
And she's been on the boat since she was 4 months old.
Yeah, we left Delos in Florida, and then we flew to Sweden because having a baby in the U.S. was just looking really, really bad for money, and the care that you get in Sweden, since Kaz is a Swedish citizen, is just top notch. So we decided to go there, and then when she was 4 months old, we flew back and met Delos, and then we went sailing again.
I'm going to pull up a picture of her.
Okay.
It's just too adorable.
Oh, there she is. She's got such a little. So that's her birthday. Yeah, she's just got such a little personality.
So she's 6 years old.
Yep, she just turned 6. She very outgoing. She will go up and I think part of this is being a cruiser kid. Whenever she sees other kids on sailboats or adults or whoever, she's like, I'm going to go talk to those people, Daddy. I'm like, well, you go ahead. Like you go engage in a conversation with them, and she's continued that even though we're kind of living in civilization now. She still goes up and talks to people in the mall or the supermarket or at the park. She's like, I'm gonna go play with your kids. I was like, okay,
So how is she? She must love it.
Yeah, she does. I mean, she loves swimming. She became addicted to snorkeling. She just started one day. We decided to see if she would, breathe through the snorkel. I was like, oh, let me show you how to put it on. I'll teach you how to do it. We'll take it real slow. She put it on and she just immediately went under, started breathing, started diving to the bottom. I was like, wow, she really loves this. So that was pretty cool.
I've interviewed boat kids, that actually grew up on boats and now they're adults. And it just sounds like a great life to raise kids.
I think so. We'll see. We'll see how she feels about it. If she wants to go swimming when she's in her 20s or 30s or whatever.
Well, these kids were on the boat till they were 18 or 19.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're selling boats.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And they can help people, for families that are planning on doing this. They have a lot of great advice.
Yeah.
From having.
She loves learning. We're doing homeschool here in Australia for her because of the visa we have. She's only allowed to be in the public school system for 3 months out of every calendar year, out of every 12 months. So right now we're homeschooling her, which is an enormous amount of work and time. But
yeah, is it online?
Yeah, we have a curriculum, an online curriculum, but it's. I mean, hats off to all the teachers out there. It's just such a. I mean, it's got to be your passion and your love and your joy, and it's so challenging.
Yeah. Well, so do you think that was part of your decision to get this type of boat, the aluminum boat, because of your family?
I mean, I've always liked aluminum boats. Every alley boat that I've seen out there, I've thought is just very cool, very different. I mean, there's just different design considerations that you make that you wouldn't make for like a GRP or a fiberglass boat. It's just a fully insulated boat. It'll have a proper, heating system. It'll also be better for keeping cool. Aluminum tends to distort and bend rather than shatter and break like a glass boat would, and so you can take them a few more places that you wouldn't normally be comfortable taking.
Like where?
Up north, higher latitudes, anywhere around ice. I mean, when we were up there in the Swan, we were very conscious about any type of ice contact in the hull at all. And we increased the hull plates to like 6 millimeter thick, which gives us a little bit more leeway. I mean, I probably wouldn't still freeze her in for the winter, but if we happen to strike some objects, and you see all these stories about people hitting, whales or containers or floating objects, and in that scenario, we're more likely to end up with a deformation in a plate rather than a shattering or a breaking or a puncture.
So it seems like you probably feel like that would be safer for your family.
Yeah, kind of so. And it's just a very durable material. Very cool, kind of rugged looking, and very customizable. When you build a fiberglass boat, you generally, unless it's a one-off design, you're probably working from a mold. And if you want to change something, then that requires a design change and a mold change, and then it gets glassed into the mold. Whereas with the aluminum boat, everything is CNC cut, and so we were able to customize very specific things that we wanted to put into the boat, and then it gets done in CAD basically, and then all that gets CNC cut out and then welded together. So you have a little bit more flexibility for customization, although it is much more. It's more labor intensive, right?
Does it help that you're an engineer? His background.
I don't know if it helps or hurts. I mean, I really didn't understand a lot about the concepts of hull design or propulsion systems or any of that when we started. But now I have a pretty good grasp on why certain decisions are made, and what's a good idea, what's a bad idea. You know, I've always really liked the rudder we have on Delos. It's a skag hung rudder, and you know, I've seen multiple stories of people hitting the rudder on something, and basically if it's unsupported at the bottom, it just takes the shaft and tweaks it like that, and then all of a sudden either you can't turn your rudder because it locks things up, or worst case scenario, you get a hole in the bottom of the boat, rudder comes out, it's a big hole. And so I'm fairly certain that we would have damaged Delos's rudder when we went aground in Solomon Islands, in Giza pretty badly up onto a reef.
Wow.
During a sunken wall while we were at anchor, and the chunks that were taken out of the front of the rudder when we were getting out there were just enormous.
Wow.
And that took the brunt of the damage, and the rudder was fine. And so, you know, when I started looking at catamarans, I'm like, well, they all have these kind of like spade type rudders, and then they have a sail drive back there, which is also this kind of like delicate appendage. And so I was like, well, if I go with the custom boat, I want to go with like a shaft drive for maintenance, and I want to go with a skag hung rudder that's well protected, that you can land it, that you can beach it. And there are some downfalls. Like, you know, you're losing space. A sail drive is a very compact unit. So that's the plus side of that. The shaft drive, I think, is a more robust design, but it takes a longer space. So you actually have to have a longer engine room, or you have to put the bed under the engine under the bunk, which you see on some boats. They'll have a firewall, but then, you know, because if they go shaft drive, then they'll need to put the engine under the cabin space. And I'm like, well, I've always been a fan of keeping like the machinery spaces separated. So machinery here, living here, you keep all the smells, all the oil, all the noise, all the heat in one place. But the penalty for that is you might have to give up a little bit of cabin space. So we make a lot of those design decisions. Yeah.
Somebody, SV a sailboat on Instagram says you couldn't be giving her a better life through. Cruise your kids are the best. Our daughter's grown so much in just 2 years of cruising. As somebody with some experience right there.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
So Hayden's asking about when is Delos 2.0 is epic? When do you see completion?
Oh, good question. I'll let you know when we get closer. You know, I mean, I'd like to be doing some sea trials maybe by the middle of next year or something. I guess, what is that, about 9 months away? I think we're about, God, I should count. I think we're maybe about 10 or 11,000 hours into the project of human man-woman hours, and maybe a little bit more. And I really think it's probably like a 16,000 hour project, 18. So we're I think we're over halfway. But
and are you and the crew working on this, or you have professionals coming in for different things?
It's a mix. I mean, me and Kaz are here every day, all day. I mean, we'll wake up at 6 a.m. I get on emails and do YouTube video stuff until 8. Drive Sierra to school at the yard by 9:30. Work here until 5 all day. Get home, do the same thing on emails until dinner. Go to sleep, and it's just like, you know, it's like a 16-hour day every day, but it's what we have to do.
So you're not just out there relaxing, drinking Mai Tais, or
now is work time. But when we're out sailing, that's when playtime is, and we're okay with that.
Yeah.
But we work with I don't know, probably 3 distinct teams of people, probably more, but full time on the site. We have cabinetry is a profession. If you want really nice, lightweight cabinetry, that's a skill that's acquired over like 20 or 30 years of experience to do it right. So we have 2 guys that are just in a woodworking shop. They're down on the Gold Coast. Steve and Steve, amazing guys, hilarious, very skilled. So they're doing all the woodwork, and then we have Dan and his team, which ranges from 2 to 3 guys that were, they're the hot work or the metal team. So they were doing all the welding. And I've been fortunate enough to hang around and be like part of the team for all these phases. So I've gotten to learn quite a bit about what the different trades do. And now that we're kind of past most of the welding and the fabrication stage. We're into the fit out stage, which I think is actually 2/3 of the project. And that's where we're running hoses, installing tanks, running plumbing, pulling conduits for wires, installing the propulsion system. And that's kind of where I put in more of my time. It's an endeavor.
So here's your username and your website. And
Yep.
I'm sure you're taking donations for this. On the website, it says buy us a beer, but there's yeah. Where can people contribute here? You got the Patreon, I'm sure.
Yep, Patreon's good. I mean, that's most of our support.
Okay.
The YouTube and the social media landscape is it's just changed so much. I mean, we've been making the video in for 13 years now, since 2012, I think the first one came out. And YouTube has gone from, I don't know, like cats spinning balls of yarn videos to like really well produced 20 and 30-minute episodes of people's lives that are really well done. And so, it was a lot easier to get traction when we first started because we were one of the first people doing it. There's an awful lot of people. There's a lot of sailing channels. There's a lot of like van life channels. There's tiny home channels. Everybody has their own genre. And we feel very fortunate to have the audience.
You got in early.
Yeah. And I think we've had a lot of fun with it too. And I think we've tried to share what life is like with people and still not take ourselves too seriously. I don't think we're like the authority on anything. Just because you do it a couple times doesn't make you an expert on anything. But
you're right. I started my sailing channel in 2015, and it has changed so much. I mean, there was a time when I thought, and I think a lot of people thought, that sailing was kind of dying off. It does not appear that that's the case now, though.
I don't think so. And I think with Starlink and the ability to work remotely, there's more people out sailing at a younger age. And people are able to work remotely now, and that's also had some impacts on places that, French Polynesia used to be a place where people would pass through for the cruising season on their way to New Zealand, Australia. But now people are staying. They're staying and they're working, and it's putting a toll on some of the islands. You're starting to see complaints about, trash services and about too many people anchoring and about things getting crowded, and it kind of stressing the resources of these small villages, which might be, let's say that one of the biggest towns in the Marquesas is like, 2,000 people. And if you have 100 boats show up and each of those have 2 people, you're increasing the population by like 10%. And that's a toll on the resources, right? And so you're beginning to see a little bit of pushback, unfortunately, on sailors. But I guess it's par for the course.
Has it helped I'm sure there's damage that happens from the boats and, I don't know, pollution, but does it help the local economy at all?
I'm sure in some ways it does. Cruises are always on a budget, so they're notoriously, I won't say cheap, I'll just say thrifty, because I also when I'm out sailing. And so, you're trying to save money. What do? We splurge money on going out and eating. I think where most of these communities make their money is through bona fide tourism, which I would consider to be, hotels, restaurants. People come on a 2-week holiday. They're going to spend way more money than me there on my boat for 2 weeks. I'm not paying for accommodation. I'm just paying for food, maybe a few tours, maybe I buy some fuel, although I get the fuel tax free. So it's kind of like, maybe I stay in a marina. That helps the local economy. Probably I don't, because marinas are expensive. And so, I don't know, I guess it could go.
Well, and so what advice would you give to people about being respectful of these places?
The number one thing is take care of your garbage. I've been so many complaints about people not knowing what to do with their trash, and then, people leaving it next to the already overflowing bin on the street, and then somebody sees somebody from a boat do it, and all of a sudden it's in some French language, Facebook group site, and then the locals are complaining about it, and then, you go into a store, and then somebody says, sees you as a sailor, and then maybe they're not so kind to you because they saw this and this. And so, it's kind of got, I'd just say tread lightly and respect the locals. And
And would you say this is in other, not just French Polynesia, other areas as well?
I mean, to a certain extent, and I think that place in particular, I think it's just getting
so tip of the day, take care of your trash.
Take care of your trash and don't anchor in coral.
Right.
Float.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How did raising Sierra on board change your perspective on safety and pace of travel? It was probably party downs, all those at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when it was me, Kaz, and Brady, and you know, maybe Alex on board, then we would just sort of go for it. Like, you know, if the forecast was blowing 30, we're like, whatever. Everybody knows what they're getting into. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Sierra hasn't made this decision. You know, she does enjoy the sailing, but if it's rough, it really affects her, and it also really affects us because she doesn't really take care of herself. She still has to be fed. She still has to go to the toilet. She still needs her hair brushed. She's like all these things for a kid that you do that become exponentially more difficult when you're in the middle of the ocean and the boat's being tossed around. So I do think I think our sailing just became more conservatively. I think we, you know, instead of going someplace and rocking to an anchorage for like a day or two and then, you know, jumping off, getting in the dinghy, exploring and going somewhere else. Now we'll travel a little bit more slowly. We'll tend to always try to spend like, you know, a couple days or a week so that we can kind of like get adjusted as a family and kind of, you know, just have more time to relax. So I guess it's.
But aren't you relieved that she's not in some public school or?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I guess there's the social aspect that she could be getting. I think educationally, she's probably getting a much better education. I think in 2 hours of focused one-on-one education, you can probably cover more than what gets covered in a typical school day. And
faster.
You can focus in on, and you can focus in on what you can tailor the lessons individually to her. It's basically private tutoring, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, she's getting a very worldly education. I mean, she sees.
I've always heard that the kids are so much more well-adjusted.
Yeah.
Growing up on a boat, and they get to see like you said, when she sees the other boat kids, there's a lot of social interaction there. But it just seems like they're very much more well-adjusted growing up like she is. I mean,
she's responsible in different ways, and she understands the concepts of like, well, you can't always have a hot shower, Sierra. Why not? Well, because we have to make our own hot water, and we have to make our own water, in fact. And she said, well, where does the water come from, Daddy? And I'm like, well, how do we do that? And so then you get to explain all these concepts about conservation and about where water comes from, and you know how we need energy from the sun to make it hot. And also, if you want to watch your iPad, like we have to charge your iPad, and we have to run the refrigerators, and all this has a toll on.
So she's learning power management, water management.
Yeah, and quantity of liquids and fuel, and you know, she's like, well, how long can we run the engine for, Daddy? I'm like, well, you know, if we burn X number of liters per hour over this amount of time, we can go like, you know, 5 days. She's like, oh wow, okay, it's more than a car. I'm like, yes, more than a car.
A 6-year-old is. I mean, this would not happen if she was just.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
You know, instead of teaching her, just showing her pictures of whales and books, we'll just take her out swimming, and we'll be like, okay, so that's a manta ray, Sierra, that's a shark. Like, you just swam with the shark. She's like, really, Daddy? Like, yeah. I mean, you know, she's like, yeah, it was a shark. Cool. And I think that stuff is very cool.
So you, Brian, today, compared to that guy that left Seattle, it's got to be. What would you tell that guy now?
Hold on, it's going to be quite a ride. Enjoy every second of it. Yeah.
I wanted to ask Kaz that same question.
She actually had to go meet with the guys about a very important decision regarding the steering. So she's in the shop. But I can try now. Oh, you want to ask the same question to her?
Okay.
I'm sure she probably.
So this is the only world that Sierra knows. So I just
Well, I
find
mean,
that fascinating.
we have spent more time in Australia now, so than over the last year, certainly than we have on the boat. I think we've spent 4 months sailing and like 8 months here, on and off. So, I mean, she's knows. I think she's getting an interesting view of both lives. I mean, she misses going to the beach. She misses swimming in the ocean, but then, we have a YMCA next to our house, so we take her to swimming lessons, and so it's sort of a different experience, but she still gets to do things.
That's great. The swimming lessons. I bet she's a good swimmer.
She's a really good swimmer. She is. She loves it.
So the boat, the new boat. So I think right now you have both boats in a yard.
Oh
Right
yeah,
next to
we
each.
can literally see where we have both money pits in one place now, so you can just see the money just flying away.
So
Yeah.
this boat, when you sell it, if that's what you're planning on doing, I don't think you're gonna have any problem selling it. Do you?
I don't think so. We're in no hurry. I mean, we still have a long time to go on Delos too, so we don't.
You're
we
not
don't
ready
plan.
yet.
No, and she needs quite a bit of work. Unfortunately, the rig needs to be done. She needs to be repowered. The diesel's on her last legs. She's a boat. She always needs some TLC. At least she's in a good place to where we can do that sort of work here. So yeah, she's parked right next door to the shed here.
Yeah, I bet it feels good to have them both there, though.
It does. I mean, we had a big debate whether we should leave Delos in Fiji and then be able to fly back and then eventually sail her to Australia. And we just felt like, well, now is the time. We're in the last year of the build. Like, let's buckle down. Let's focus. Let's put all of our energy into getting this done, and let's not worry about trying to fly back to Fiji and cyclone season coming up and all of these things. So it's the right call.
Joel says, how often do you run into YouTube fans on your travels?
Quite often. I mean, obviously it's more often when we're around boats and people are on boats and water, but I mean, you'll be randomly in Bunnings. Here's like the version of Home Depot. You'll see somebody like, oh, I watch your videos, or in the supermarket or something like that.
Do they ever hunt you down? I've had that happen to me.
There's a pretty steady stream of people that come by the shop to say hi. I always try and say hi to people. Sometimes I'm in the middle of something. Sometimes people might think I'm a little bit short, but I always think well, imagine if I kind of wandered into your office and just knocked on your door. I mean, I've got like a welding helmet on and I'm like welding. There's somebody in there shouting, Brian, and I try and say hi. It's kind of
you're sitting there welding and you're like,
hey. But it's fun. I appreciate it. It's nice to know that people want to come by and see the boat and say hi. Yeah.
Okay, well, what's the one thing you're excited to do differently with Delos 2.0 that wasn't possible on the first boat?
Is it wrong to say run the air conditioning off the solar panels? I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, it's not wrong at all.
I'm really excited about seeing how the hybrid drive works. I've always been curious about that. The technology is kind of getting close to getting there, but at this point it's still, we're going to have a lot of batteries, like about 54 kilowatt hours of batteries. And even with that amount of batteries, I think we're still going to get a range of about 40 nautical miles, which is enough to get on and off the hook in and out of a marina. But, for proper cruising, it's nowhere near the range that you need to get. You couldn't even go through the Panama Canal with that range, right? On pure electric. And so it'll be a hybrid, diesel electric hybrid system. So we'll still have like over 1,000 nautical mile range under power. But when we want to use the hybrid system, we'll have the ability to maybe motor out of the channel, or it'll be interesting to see how it works. It is way more expensive than just going with the twin diesel arrangement, and it does add quite a bit of weight because you have to increase your battery capacity, and you have you still have a diesel power source.
So how many batteries is that?
Let's see. It's 18 2.7 kilowatt hour batteries. And so that would be, what's 18 times 3? 54 or something. Somebody is going to
18
be
times 18 times 2 is
30,
36
24.
plus 18,
Yeah.
50. What is that? 50 something. Let's get the calculator out. Oh, I lost the sound. Oh, here we go.
Okay, so it's like
so
54 standard batteries like we have on Delos.
So I'm hearing an echo. Give me 1 second.
Oh.
Oh, I don't know where it's coming from. How about solar?
We'll have somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 watts of solar. So that'll be, it's quite a bit, and that's just on the roof alone. So I think
There's gonna be more.
I don't think we'll need more. I think we'll be okay with that. Yeah.
And what else are you planning on putting on there? What cool electronics are you?
Well, I mean, I think the electrical system's going to be sort of. It won't be like crazy. It'll just be. I mean, it'll have be capable of handling a lot of power. But you mean as far as like the navigation system,
Yeah.
or
Are you gonna have a wind generator? Are you gonna have a wind vane? Are you gonna, all the stuff?
I mean, on Delos, we get about 1 kilowatt hour per day of power, about 20% of our power from wind. And so now that we're increasing our solar capacity times 5 and our battery capacity times like 8 or 9, I mean, the wind generator is nice because it pumps in power day and night, right? But if you have this large power bank that you need for the propulsion system, it's more than enough
minimal.
to run your house overnight. And so then it's like the wind is nice, but then you're just literally like, it's almost irrelevant at those scales when you have that much solar battery, and then it's just you're using like 10% of your capacity overnight, and then you're topped up by 11 the next day.
Wow.
And okay, so what about the scenario if you have, or you're probably topped up by like 10 in the morning with that much solar or something. And then the scenario is like, well, what if you have 5 or 6 days of bad weather or low solar, or you go up north where the solar is very low on the horizon? My answer is, well, I mean, we're gonna the electric propulsion motor that we have can also work with a generator, so it's basically a 20 kilowatt DC charging solution. And so, if you can top up your bank in 2 hours of runtime or something like that, or
of your generator.
Yeah. Then it's very efficient, right? And then also, it's sort of mixed. I mean, I love the wind power we had on Delos. It's really helped us, but I think on the way the system's configured on Delos too, probably won't need it.
And so, when did that project start?
We started thinking about it in 2019, looking at different designs and looking at different boats, and then we kind of chose a designer, and we kind of went back and forth on the design for a little while, and then we finished the design, and just before we crossed, when we finished the design, like maybe 2 years ago, and then we started building 18. Yeah, not quite a year and a half ago. We started in March of last year.
So it's a 2.5 year project.
That's fast for a custom boat. I think if you look at, like, I was just talking to somebody, I won't mention the yard because I don't want to throw shade on anybody, but it's a yard in Southeast Asia where a number of boats are coming from. Their project delay was 3 years.
Wow.
Their delay was 3. It came 3 years later than they said, and so I think it was more like a 5-year build. And I think if you can get anywhere between the 2 and 3 year mark on a boat, I think you're doing pretty good, especially
now.
Custom boat.
Why do you think that's throwing shade?
Oh, I don't know. Like, you hear things from different people. You hear, like, you don't know what their situation is or why it happened or what the circumstances are. Maybe they made design changes that pushed the build out. Maybe they had a production bottleneck. Maybe there was a COVID pandemic. Who knows, right? It's just could be any reason.
All right. So I always ask everybody this will be a hard one for you, I'm sure. Your favorite anchorage.
Oh, I love. There's a little place in the Tuamotus called Tahanea, or Roria. It's hard to pronounce, but it's like what I would consider the epitome of South Pacific paradise. It's just a lagoon.
What's the name of it?
Tahanea. I can try and let's see.
T-A-H.
Let's see if I can. I don't want to misspell it. Tahanea. Yeah, Tahanea. That place is fantastic.
French Polynesia. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna bring this up.
Just search on Tahanea SV Delos. I'll put it in your chat here.
Okay, I do have it. I'm pulling it up on Google Maps. So I've learned about some really, really cool anchorages. All right, let's see what this is.
Yeah, I mean it's nowhere.
Yeah, there's even Google Maps doesn't look like it goes there a lot.
That's special.
Is it?
Crystal clear waters. You still get good breeze coming out of the atoll. Plenty of coconuts, plenty of crabs. Good swimming, good diving, and nobody.
Okay.
A few sailboats. We actually spent a couple of weeks there where it was just us, which is really nice.
So tell me about the difference that when you went back to French Polynesia, the difference, like when you sailed there this time, what were you thinking? Like, here I was, just this kid that was partying down, sailing,
Yeah.
and now look at you.
Yeah, I don't know. Different people, I guess, different time in your life. I felt more like I was a little bit more centered this time, just because like you've been out cruising for a while, like you kind of know what to expect, how to set yourself up. I mean, we still make mistakes, but I think we're better at reading the weather and maybe keeping us out of like exciting situations. We're better at provisioning, like, unfortunately, instead of carrying like a ton of beer, now we're like, well, now we have our skills on board so we can make our own. So,
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, it just had to be just, I don't know, epic coming back in, so many changes, in yourselves, more settled.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like y'all were having a pretty good time with all that crew.
Yeah, we were. I mean, the social interaction was cool, but now it's really nice just to be our family on board.
Yes.
Just enjoy that time, and like we can still meet up with friends and we can still go out and party, but when we come back to the boat, then it's our space, and I think
Is your brother with you? And his name is it Brad? Brady. And Alex?
Yep. Yeah, so they're living in Lake Tahoe now. They have a
So
house.
they're not doing the sailing thing anymore?
Well, they run a sailing school on Lake Tahoe, and then they run ocean-going cruising school out of their Passport. I think it's Passport 42. No, wait, is it? I should know this. Anyway, it's sailboat. They have a 42-footer in the Sea of Cortez, and they do cruising lessons off of there.
So the sailing school.
Yes, is
it ASA?
No, they sort of do their own thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think they're focused more on like the cruising aspect than it also includes the sailing aspect. But when you think about what it takes to cruising, yes, you need to know how to sail your boat from A to B and dock and all that stuff, but you also need to know how to run the water maker, and how to properly set the hook, and you need to know like all these, like, I think it's honestly, probably when you think about it, on our trip, it's been 10% sailing and 90% other stuff, right? So 90% of the time you're anchored, or you're moored, or you're in the yard fixing your boat, or you're just trying to figure out how to fix things, and then the other 10% is just going from A to B.
So going back to that guy that was at Microsoft, and it was like, oh, this is the the, the chart for all the people in the organization, and he was saying, I want to be in here. Where is that guy today?
No, probably living in a McMansion somewhere in Seattle. I don't know.
Have you stayed in touch with any of those people? Do they know what you're doing?
I think some people do. I'll occasionally get a random message from somebody I worked with in the past.
Yeah, I knew you win.
It's like a completely different life.
Well, that seemed to have made a big impact on you when he's showing you the organizational chart, and you're like, I don't want that. And so I'm just wondering if he's ever contacted you. Do you remember his name?
No.
You don't have to say it if you don't. That's amazing. It would be so cool to bring him on and go.
I'm not willing to say it. He's actually a very nice guy.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure.
After different things in life, that was.
I just wonder if he realizes what an impact that had on you.
Yeah.
One ocean you'd happily. Oh, we got some pounding going on. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, it is a boat yard, so.
So I do have just a couple more questions. We've been on here for an hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I do appreciate you answering my email, by the way, or answering on Instagram. Thank you for that.
My dad monitors our social media stuff.
Oh, okay.
Just time to answer comments and try and get back to people. So I say, Dad, can you help us out? And he does that.
He said, there's a podcast. This chick wants to talk to you.
Very much in dad language, yeah.
One ocean you'd happily sail again.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. Each one's got its own little unique thing. I'd like to spend more time in the Pacific. The Pacific's just so enormous. And I think one of the things I'd like to do when we get Delos 2 ready to go is we'll maybe do a shakedown cruise back to the South Pacific, maybe Fiji, something like that. I'm sure there'll be things that we want to change. We'll probably break some stuff because nobody's ever built one of these hulls before.
Wow.
So we expect there to be some issues. We'll take care of that. And then I think a big North Pacific loop would be cool. And so before, when we sailed up, we went from Australia to Indonesia to the Philippines, and then we ran out of money. And so then we were like, well, we really wanted to go up to Japan, but if you don't have any money, Japan, I think, is not a great place to go. Whereas Malaysia, where food is cheap and living is cheap, is a better place to go. So we went to Malaysia. This time I'd like to keep going north and maybe go explore more of Asia. I'd love, we've gotten invited to go to Taiwan. I think South Korea would be amazing. I think Japan would be cool. And then kind of maybe continue on to Alaska. She's a perfect boat to go up to Alaska, and then the inside passage back down. So like a big North Pacific loop, I think could be cool. And then just see where that takes us.
So, okay. So that was a question I was going to ask, what you plan on doing. So, so you're planning on going up towards, Malaysia and just all of that up there, the Vietnam and all that stuff.
Maybe not Vietnam. I think I'd probably definitely go back to the Philippines. Philippines is incredible. And then just maybe go north from there. Yeah.
Yeah. I've interviewed some people that have with some great pictures of their boats anchored right by a glacier.
Oh yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah. I've always been interested in the Northwest Passage. So I mean that could be an interesting way to get to the Atlantic and then go explore. I don't know. I think it should be a really good boat for the Northwest Passage.
So last question, I may think of another one, but how would you describe the new vibe you're hoping for on Delos 2.0?
Oh, the new vibe?
What are you hoping it'll be like?
I'd say I'd say rugged and expeditionary. So like we're not going to paint the boat. She'll just be raw aluminum. The systems are going to be robust and durable.
So smart.
I don't think she'll be considered a luxury boat. Like there won't be any shiny things. There won't be any like gratuitous use of carbon fiber inlaid instruments or anything. I'll probably just do polished aluminum backdrops because it's very durable. It's very easy to clean. It's very easy to weld. No paint, so paint can't flake off. You don't have to repaint it if it's not painted in the first place. Things like that.
Low maintenance.
Low maintenance. And also a lot of thought and attention given to some of the downfalls that we saw in Delos 1, which is like lack of ventilation, kind of lack of light downstairs. And so we've kind of really planned out like the hatches and the ventilation system and the heating and cooling system, like based on what we've learned, be a fully insulated boat. So very good for acoustics and thermal. So be quiet inside. You don't think about it, but like on Delos, the compressors for all the fridges and freezers are right in the living space, right where you're trying to watch TV or chill in the night, and those things going off in the background, always like fan noise, compressor noise. You're like, I would just like to turn all of this stuff off. And so, some of the thinking has been involved in where do we place this equipment? Where do I put the air conditioning compressors? Like, should they go in the living space, like right under your bed? Well, no, because it's loud and it kind of sucks when it turns on. And so I'll be putting those in the engine room where it's going to be like isolated and kind of quiet, and like a hydronic cooling loop or heating loop. And so I think a lot of those decisions I'm having fun with, trying to think about that stuff. And I'm sure we'll make mistakes, but we'll learn. And
I think you could sell these.
Oh,
this is your design.
We'll see. We'll just focus on the sailing, and we'll see.
Well, Sailing Fin Explorer says, big fans, excited to see where you'll take Delos 2.0. We hope to bump into you in the Northwest Passage or somewhere else high latitude. Those are. I did interview them. I interviewed them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they're big fans of yours. Is there anything else that you would like to say? I know that you probably would like some donations, right?
I mean, support is really important to us.
Yeah.
I know that people often think that why would you need support if you're like like a bigger YouTube channel? And I mean, we're just it's tough out there. I think we are a bigger channel, but there's so many channels now that the love has sort of been spread amongst a lot of people now, and so we have to work. I feel like we have to work twice as hard to kind of like stay exactly where we are, just to tread water. So we do appreciate people watching and commenting and liking the videos. That makes a big deal to us. And then if you do feel like you're getting something out of it, supporting us on Patreon is the best way.
Okay.
We're able to kind of interact with the people on Patreon in a different way. Like, I make sure that I'm able to answer all people's questions and personally answer their comments, and we do meetups and stuff like that, and no ads in the videos, which we have to do promotions now. Like, it's just I know people, we had some flack for it, for promoting products, but like honestly, advertising is, that's now it's become mainstream on YouTube videos, that if you want to make a living, you're off that, you need to represent products and brands. We try and do ones that we like and we trust, but it's 60 or 90 seconds out of a video that.
Now, do you do those separate, or you drop them in the video?
We try and they for us, because we're not very good at it, they kind of get filmed after the fact, because we film our stuff like in advance, and so like we're editing our videos even though we're already here in Australia. The videos of us sailing to Australia are being released, and so we don't know what promotions are going to go in those videos, and so we'll do our best to look back and film it as if we were there. But that's kind of.
Well, the reason I asked is because I'm just starting to do that. I've had people reaching out to me, and I thought I would do
like from your audience at first, but I mean, you got it if you need to make a living, right? So people who understand that will understand. The people who don't will just continue complaining. So
Really?
as long as,
Yeah.
as
Okay.
long as they complain in the comments, that's okay because it's still engagement. So,
Yeah. It still helps.
complain in the comments, please.
Yes. Please complain.
Yeah, it's
Well, is there
complain.
anything else you want people to know? There'll be a lot of people watching this in the replay, especially. So
Awesome.
anything you want to say to your fans?
Thank you for making this possible for us, this life. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. And if you're not doing something that you love, make time to go out and do it. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to quit your job. You don't have to sail around the world. Maybe it's making sure that you take a 30-minute lunch break and you go sit and stare at a tree instead of answering emails. Maybe it's something as small as that, but at least take that time for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have different formulas. Some are doing it full time, some are doing it part time. I'm definitely a part timer, and luckily I have a job that I can, work from the boat. But just whatever you can do it, right?
That's it.
Whatever your
You only
life
get
will
one life.
allow. Right.
Might as well make the most of it.
All right. Well, I'd love to catch up with you again down the road. Thank you so much for doing this. I really, really appreciate it. And with
Alrighty.
that, all
Have a
right,
good
with
one.
that,
Thanks again.
Salty Abandon out.